Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast. Thank you to everyone from around the UK and around the world who continue to tune in every week to listen to not what I have to say, but what our guests have to say. And as you know, from time to time, when we do allow guests from outside of Britain, as Great Britain is, we do allow guests from outside of the UK to contribute. I'm always keen to hear from devotees from around the world who have a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. And for this week, I'm really excited because we have gone, for our guest this week, we've gone all the way to the Brazilian rainforest. I believe it or not, I have never spoken to anyone I'm aware of from the Brazilian rainforest. So I'm pleased to welcome our guest this week, Gaura Nataraj Prabhu. Dandavat pranams.
Jai Dhanavat Narad Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's great to have you with us, and thank you for being open to being a guest this week. We've kind of known each other for some time on social media, and you, like others, have a fascinating story to tell, and we're going to hear about it shortly. I'm also conscious, everyone, of two things. Firstly, because Gaura Nataraj Prabhu is in the Brazilian rainforest, there might be some connection issues. There isn't at the moment, but if there is, we have to kind of bear that in mind. And secondly, I'm aware that I can speak quite fast at times, and I'm purposely trying to slow down my pace. So Gaura Nataraj Prabhu understands what I'm saying, because us Brits get carried away at times. Particularly those of
Yes,
us.
thank you, Prabhu.
So
Because talk.
yeah, so I was going to just start really, Gaura Nataraj Prabhu. Please tell us a bit about you and where you're from.
Good. And thank you for inviting me to the interview and your podcast. I very like so much your podcast, because it's this. Have Hare Krishna, have devotees in all the world. And we have connections about the consciousness and many things. And I live in Brazil, but like I talked to you, Brazil is a very big place and have very different geography here. And I'm born in the northeast from Brazil, but now I live in southeast of Brazil and have many types of rainforest here, because have the most popular is the Amazonia, the Amazon forest is a bigger, like having the other countries in the South America. But I'm living now in the name is Mantiqueira Mountains. Is close to the São Paulo city, like 3 hours of car. But here is like a reserve, like a park, very big, very large, like many cities have a piece of the forest. And I live here and I care about one farm. Is a park, like a particular reservation of forest, and having many birds, monkeys, and other things. And is this here is very, very nice. And what you need to understand more about here.
Well, that was a great introduction. I mean, you've told us you're from Brazil. You were born in Brazil. You're still in Brazil. Same as me. I was born in Britain, and I'm still in Britain. I've traveled quite a bit, but decided for some bizarre reason to stay in the UK. Okay, so you're from Brazil. Let's tell us a bit about how did you discover Krishna consciousness? How did you meet the devotees?
Nice. And like Srila Prabhupada introducing the Occident the simple lifestyle. And this creates two types of living, the urban living and the culture living. And in Brazil, have projects of country living, like farms, but these are big farms and find to the sustainability, to produce all the things and stay in the life with cows and agriculture in these things and have the temple. And it's very crazy because I think you see in films, American movies, like Colorado, Arizona, like Texas, and you think this is a very dry place, very arid place, In the northeast of Brazil is this, in the inner country. But if you go to the beach, it's like a Caribbean beach in northeast of Brazil, It's very beautiful sea and coconuts and mango trees. Is very, very beautiful beaches in many places. But if you go to the inner, like if you go to the way in like 100 kilometers, you see a very different place, like a dry and arid place. And I born in this place. It's like the name of the city is Caruaru. Caruaru is a name of a cactus, a cactus tree, a cactus, very spikes, is the origin of the name of the city I born. And I don't know why, only Krishna knows, and I think Krishna knows, the devotees go to Caruaru and create a new Vrajadam.
Wow.
New Vrajadam. And New Vrajadam is a place in the top of like a mountain too, and have forest too. Is I don't know in English, but it's a island of forest in the top of the mountain, and all the area in the cycle of many kilometers is arid place. In the top of the mountain is a forest and have many hundreds of in Brazil talks is isle of water. You know what is this? Isle of water is where the rivers born.
Wow.
Many of these places. Here is the same. I living now in the place of many rivers born, and the water go to Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo, the cities, The people in the cities drinking the water born here. And I have 14 years old. I invited 4 friends. I'm a roller skater. You know a roller?
Like a skater, like on a skateboard.
Yes, but it's a roller. It's like a, the foot with wheels.
Roller skater.
Yes, roller skater.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. I'm play with rollers, and I have many friends rollers too, and I have friends not girlfriends, is girls stay in the crew and invite me to the place. Oh, have one party that she talked like this. Oh, have one party in a countryside, it's a very nice place. You can go with us. It's like our 3 sisters. invite me to the temple, but I don't know it's a temple. And I go with the girls, and I never see anything like this, like very different people, clothes is very different, the hair is very different, the smell is very different, all the place is very different. And I remember, like a more young, like a 9 or 10, I see the devotees in the streets singing and dancing, And I asked my mom, what is this? And my mom, this is crazy people. Don't say this. Yes. And I think this in my head and don't think more about it. And I have 14, go to the temple, and is Janmashtami. And I don't know what is this Janmashtami. The only thing I know is fast. Don't have food, all day. Don't have food. And me and my friends go to the trees and take many fruits, and eat in the forest the fruits and come back to the temple. And it's very nice. In time, the festival starts, the devotees start to singing and open the altar and take the deities out for bath, the archan, And in this moment, anything changed inside my head, like a different perception about all the things, like a remembrance, like I know what happening now. And for a moment, I know the songs, I feel the things, what are happening. And in the end of the archan, the charanamritam and the other things go to distribute to the devotees, and I receive the garland, the garland of the deity, but the garland is made by dry fruits.
Wow.
Dry fruits? And I received this, and it's the first thing I eat in the temple,
Wow.
And after this, take the deities, go to inside to the altar and close the altar, and the festival starts. And there are many brahmacharis, in this time, like 90, 95, 94, like this. Many devotees. The mission in Brazil is very, very hard, very powerful. And you feel like many, many young devotees, like a very, very passionate, like a very, very enthusiastic and singing. And one moment, I start in the middle of them, singing and jumping and dancing, and I know what happened here. And this day, I come back to my home vegetarian, never more I eat meat or anything. And every week, not every week because I'm young, and young is very crazy, but sometimes, like 2 times in the month, I go to the temple and stay to the service and stay with clean the kitchen and working in the woods and working the earth with the devotees, for 5 years. For 5 years, I do this and searching for a master, searching for Gurudev, because I feel I'm here. I'm a part of this, and I think find for Gurudev, searching for Gurudev. In this temple is ISKCON temple. And this time I know many of the sannyasis of ISKCON, you know, Idayananda and Parangati and Chandramukha and many, Jayapataka. And I know all the gurus of ISKCON. And if you can ask me other thing, because this have the second part.
Okay, I'm conscious that we're going on to the next bit, but I guess before we move on to that, in terms of your guru and your relationship with him, so I think let's go back to when you were 14 years old. I think you said that you went to the temple and you could hear the songs, and it was like you remembered them from like a past life. So that's quite remarkable. So you were having these thoughts that you'd heard these songs before, even though you had never been to the temple before. That's quite amazing. I've never heard anyone say that before. Well, certainly they've never told me. So at the age of 14, you were remembering things possibly from kind of a past life, or kind of, you know, from something before. That must have felt quite amazing.
It's I don't know explain this. It's like I think is for 14 years. For 14 years, I'm sleeping. In one moment, I wake up. But the remembrance, the memory,
Yeah.
it's like a memory, you know. The memory is me, inside of me, and wake up. And the thing is, this is the most important moment in my life, you know, because it's a mark, like a point, you know, like a flag, point at one direction in my life. And I don't know, maybe it's not only a proposition or a possibility. Is a great possibility. I'm not alive today if not the Krishna consciousness and Gurudev, you know, because Brazil is a very hard place to live, you know, like we survive here. We live, but we survive. It's like this.
You said that you went to the temple with some girls, some friends.
Yes.
Did they also become attracted to Krishna consciousness as well?
Yes, this is a funny thing, you know, because the three sisters born in the Krishna consciousness, because her mom and her father is like a hippies, you know, and create connection with the devotees like in the 80s. And the girls, the first girl I think is almost my age, is like 81, born in 80 or 81. And in this time, I think in the 84 or 85, the devotees create new Vrajadam. Is not the first, is the second temple in Brazil.
The second like ISKCON temple in Brazil.
Temple, yes, okay. But not a urban temple. It's a country temple. It's I think it's the second, and only two countries, original country temples, stay working in Brazil now. One is close to here in a very, very crazy name. The name of the city is Pindamonhangaba, you know. The name of the city of the New Gokula.
Okay.
New Gokula is close to here. And in northeast of Brazil is New Vrajadam. Is the more oldest stay working country temples in Brazil.
So you were involved in this temple for about 5 years doing services, seva.
Yes.
And this is an ISKCON temple.
Yes.
So this leads me nicely onto my next question, because I'm kind of keen to hear about that transition or that leap to initiation. So you're a disciple. No, actually, let me change the question around because I want you to tell us instead of me saying. So tell us a bit about who your guru is. Tell us about him. I assume it's a him. And how you met him. So who is he, and how you met him?
Yes, this is a very, very nice and crazy history. You like it. Yes, you like
I hope
it. You
so.
like it. And it's this. For this time, 5 years, my family don't like so much I'm going to the temple. My family is thinking in Brazil is Brazil. I think in Britain it's close to this, but in Brazil is a very fanatic Christianism, fanatic is a very, very crazy thing. And or you is a Catholic or you is a Protestant. And here have 500 churches of Protestantism, and many other types of Christianism. And my father and my mother, the families, is a very Christian families, every Sunday go to the church like this. And I do the first steps of the Christianism, like a baptism and communication, the thing you eat.
Communion.
Like
Communion.
Yes.
Yeah, don't worry. So baptism, communion. Was that in the Protestant church? You were raised. No, for you, your family are Protestant or Catholic?
Catholic,
okay.
Yes. Okay. The two sides.
Yeah.
And not so Christian family. You think like this, like Brazil have many influences of other cultures, and in northeast of Brazil have many things with spiritism too, like Allan Kardec, the French, the spiritism, and have the connections. And the thing is, my family think I'm crazy and I need to go to the mental hospital because the devotees do brain watching me, And if you think, and one day I start to be a vegetarian, good, but my grandfather of my father and my mother work with meat. Work with meat, sell meat. The father of my father create cows for slaughter, and the father of my mom sell meat for the cities, for the the merchants, like
the merchants, the shops, the restaurants.
In the streets, you put the things in the streets for sale, like in India.
Markets,
yes. Like this, and distribute meat in the markets in the cities around the city I'm living. And in one day, I don't eat more meat, and the people think what you do, why you don't eat more. And this is a very, very drastic thing in the family. And the other thing is, I'm not a Catholic more. I don't go more to the church. I don't feel these things more. And my family is very against, very, very against my spiritual transition. And in the time I conclude the school, I don't know in London or in Britain how it is, but in Brazil, you have the school and college like this, university, the university. And I conclude the school and need to go to the university. In the city of I born, don't have university. I need to move myself to the other city for study. And my family think this is good because go too far away to the Hare Krishnas, And I'm very sad. I'm very sad because this. And I think in Brazil, you need to do a test. You need to do a test for going in the universities. If you don't good in the test, you don't get in. And you need to 1 year more study for try again. And I think if I don't pass, I come back to home. And I think, but if it's better for me, I need to pass. I need to go into the university. And I think I don't go to force. I don't go to put hard. I don't go hard, put my very hard intention in this. I only go and do it. And I go in the university, and I do to the communication, journalism. And I'm very sad because I don't see more the devotees. I don't go to the temple. I live in the other city. In the first week in the university, in the block, in the pavilion of have many rooms, class, and a pavilion. And the people go in many people, and I see an old man with white hair, but heavy kanti. And I see him, I don't believe this is kanti. And I like, como é esconder? Sorry, Prabhu. If don't see me, like a sneak, like a
sneaking, yeah,
I
like
thought,
hiding,
yes,
or
hiding. Yes, I hide
hiding.
myself. I hide, and I scream, Haribo! I talk Haribo. And in that time I talk Haribo, only this guy stop and go to search. And I go to him and talk with him. What, you is a devotee? Jai Prabhu, Jai Dhanavad. And the name is Rajendra Krishna Prabhu. And in the past year, he go to the past this body, pass away of this body in the next year. And next, I think it's not next.
Last year.
Last year. Yes. Sorry.
Don't worry at all.
In the last year, he died. And this is the first devotee I see of Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, And I talk with him, Prabhu, help me. I need association. I don't know everything in this city. I don't know nothing, and I'm not happy here. I think every day to go back to home, but you show me hope here today. What is possible to do? And the Rajendra talk, don't worry, Prabhu. Like last 5 months ago, we started a center here. We have a temple now. And yes, Prabhu, yes. And the Saturday you can go with us, have a festival and give me the address. And oh yes, I will go. And he started to be a big friend of me, very big friend. And the first time I go to the temple, I see different things. What? Different pictures and different parampara, and where is Prabhupada? Where is Prabhupada, But the devotees talk, we are disciples of Shri Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj. This is our Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat. Oh, nice. And how is the difference? And explain me about the brotherhood of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada and the mission of ISKCON started by Prabhupada, and the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat started in Navadvip and stay in Navadvip at this time, and taught me about so many things and give me a book of Srila Gurudev. Is Hurt and Halo. Hurt and Halo. It's a so nice book of Srila Gurudev, so nice, and I feel so much love inside my heart, and I feel this is my Gurudev. This is my Gurudev. And I see the picture in the book and I feel like love for Gurudev, like so beauty, like so attractive, and he smiles, and I feel this is my Gurudev. And I'm start to go to this temple for I think 4 months. And after this, I will stop now. I only don't conclude this path. And one sannyas, the name is Padmanabha Maharaj, now is in the other mission, but this time he stay connected with Srila Gurudev, go to the temple to give the initiation. And I received my initiation in November of 2001. 2001.
Wow. Over 20 years ago, 22 years ago.
Yes.
Wow.
And in the time of initiation, the Maharaj taught, you don't go more back to your home. What, Maharaj? Yes, you need to stay here and live here and take care about the temple and study and do your practice here. And from here, you go to the university and come back to sleep here. And because this, I live in the temple almost 3 years,
Wow.
Yes, I almost conclude the university in the time of the temple, but the propriety, like the building of the temple is a couple, and the couple separated, like divorced.
The owners, the proprietors of the temple.
Yes.
Okay.
And stop the temple, and I go back to the apartment and go to live my life. And this is the second time of the process in my life. But if you ask more things, I go to the next.
So you were originally initiated. Doesn't make sense, does it? You received initiation in 2001 from a sannyasi called Padmanabha Maharaj.
Yes,
and he was
in the name of Srila Gurudev.
Okay, and he was a sannyasi in the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati mat.
Yes.
And he's now gone elsewhere to another mat.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Now is other math.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's fast forward a bit uh uh to, I'm trying to think how we get to this, by what question I'm going to ask next. Um you eventually received initiation from or reinitiation or second initiation, or I'm not sure what kind of phrase you're comfortable using. You eventually received initiation from Bhakti Sundar Goswami Maharaj. I think.
You?
No,
You have?
you. No, I didn't. Did you?
No, I have the second initiation, the Brahminic initiation given to me for in time is Bhuvan Mohan Prabhu. Bhuvan Mohan Prabhu is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada and living in the USA in time like New York. And in the time is a brahmachari of Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada goes to the divine pastimes, and Bhuvan Mohan is other name in the ISKCON, I don't remember, but Bhuvan Mohan, Ashra Maharaj, Janardhan Maharaj, Goswami Maharaj, Madhusudan Maharaj, all these swamis is from ISKCON, go to Srila Sridhar Maharaj.
Yeah.
And Bhuvan Mohan Prabhu have the mission go to Brazil and start the mission Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata in Brazil. In this time, he's a sannyasi, but for I don't know what year he come back to the Shri Sridhar Maharaj. I think in the I don't know the year, but talk about get married, and Shri Sridhar Maharaj give this bless to get married, and Bhuvan Mohan in 2003 he gave me the second initiation. And in 2010 I go to live in the Krishna Shakti ashram. Is in the southeast of Brazil, is close to here, like 3 hours too, but in the other direction, not in the direction of São Paulo city. And is in the Mantiqueira Mountains too, is a very beautiful place. And 2010 is the time of Gurudev go out of this planet. And his successor, Srila Acharya Maharaj, come to Brazil. In the first travel, the first travel of Srila Acharya Maharaj go out of the India, the first place he comes to Brazil. And in time I know this, I think I need to go to the temple. I need to go to the temple and wait for the Srila Acharya Maharaj, because I need to stay with the successor of Gurudev, because my very big fault in my life is not do service to Srila Gurudev, because I think in Brazil it's very hard to go to India, and after I come to Campos do Jordão, because the temple of Krishna Shakti Ashram is in the Campos do Jordão, my life is impossible. The style of my life impossibility the travel to India. My connection with Gurudev is only about the sannyasis and the books and the classes, and Gurudev passed out of this world, and I think what I do with my life, what I do with my spiritual life. And I think I need to rent myself, I need to do anything for the mission. And in this time I work with environment, in the public environment in the city, like a major. You know this? I don't know
Mm.
in Britain, like have a administration of the city, have many sectors in the
For the council, you worked for the council, the city council,
yes,
working in the environmental department, which is a
yes,
very important department, and dealing with environmental issues, maybe public health, and
yes,
other
yes.
things like that. Yeah.
Yes, and in this time I work with this and work with advertising. I have two other friends and we create a agency of create marks and identity and many things. And I put all this out. I get off of this and go to live in the temple. And I stay with Shilacharya Maharaj and give my obeisances to him and ask to him put me in the mission for service. And Acharya Maharaj talk, stay here in the ashram and help here and do your service and you have a good spiritual life.
Mm.
And I stayed for more 2 years in the temple, live in the temple and like a pujari of the temple again. And this other part of my life, because I'm married for 6 years, is a very different things happening too. But ask other thing.
Okay. Okay. Let's change the subject a little bit, because one of the things that when I was kind of researching researching about you for this podcast, you sent me the details of your YouTube channel. And you have a very active and colorful YouTube channel, which I'll put the link above this broadcast so people can see it. So
Nice.
you have a strong interest in astrology. You're an astrologer, if we can use that term. So tell us a bit about that. The YouTube channel is great, by the way. Tell us a bit
Nice.
about how long have you been interested in astrology? Is it a gift that you've had for a long time, or an interest, or is it something you've developed later on in life?
Nice, very good. It's a other very funny thing, you know, because what happening until like at the time I have 14 and discovery the Krishna consciousness, you know, like I think this is amazing. This is amazing, you know, this is so nice. Like the first book I see, the first book I read is the Easy Travel to the Other Planets. You know this book?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
nice. It's very nice, you know.
Right.
Prabhupada is very nice.
I'm just seeing if I have it here, and I
Yes,
embarrassingly
yes,
don't. I have a lot of others, but not Easy Journey to Other Planets is on another shelf over there. But
yes.
yeah. But Easy
But
Journey to Other Planets, yeah, it's quite popular and it's very easy to read, isn't it?
yes, it's very easy and have many scientific explanations, you know. But the first thing I have attraction is the cover. I don't know in English what is the cover, but in Portuguese the cover is a mystic yogi in Padmasana, you know, and your head is open
Mm.
and your soul comes out of his head, go to the moon, you know. And I see this and I think I need to stay like this. This is the goal of my life, you know. I think this is the goal of my life. It's like I feel have attraction about the mystic yogi. Is these are very interesting thing. And what are happening? The Jyotish. Yes. And all the things I discovered, I talk with my friends. I search for people to listen me about these things, you know. It's very hard to find people to listen you about the Krishna consciousness. Because in Brazil, the people have many, I don't know, preconcepts,
preconceptions,
you know?
or preconceived ideas.
Yes, and avoid the devotees, you know. If I now have, but more or less, you know, like the devotees using the appropriate clothes and sell books in the streets. This is very hard in this day in Brazil, and because have a very preconception about this type of people here, because the Christianism and the other things. And I feel a very deep desire to talk about Srila Gurudev, about the Krishna conception, about the spiritual life, about the philosophy, about sadhana, about many things. I feel for all my life this very deep desire to talk about this. And I'm talk, and many of my friends don't like so much, you know, like you talk only about this, you're so bored, you know. But yes, and I think I need a way to go in the mind of the people, and the people need to go like search me, and like I don't know how to do this, but I think I need to have one thing the people need, for I put the Krishna consciousness inside of this, you know. And for many years, I think this is communication, expression, and I like take photos, you know. In my family, have photographers. My father, my grandfather take photos too. And for many years, I was studying for visual design and the construction of the things. And one time, I know about the astrology, you know, but I don't feel attraction about the traditional astrology, because I think anything is wrong here. And I don't connected me with tropical astrology. In 2016, I have my first connection with the Jyotish. And again, my life changed, completely changed, because it's like the same thing like the first time staying in the temple. In the moment I understand how Jyotish works, it's like all the memories about these conceptions come to me. And I understand how the Jyotish works, and I studying about Jyotish, and now I using Jyotish to a form to talk about the Krishna consciousness, because have many ways to you see the Jyotish, but the goal of Jyotish is explain you about the cycle of samsara. If you understand this, you go to the Dharma, you go to do your sadhana, you know, you go to advance it in your spiritual life. But I don't know is the question.
Just to clarify, you're using the word Jyotish?
Yes.
And this is a type of astrology?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I don't know much about astrology. In fact, I know nothing about astrology, really. So Jyotish is a type of astrology.
Yes, this is very nice to you understand now, because I listened of Avaduta Maharaj classes in this week about the connection with the Gaudiya Sampradaya and the astrology, you know, because Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is a very, very deep knowledger about Jyotish. The thing is that have the ancient Indian astrology. The ancient Indian astrology, the name is Jyotish. And in the world have the tropical astrology, have origin in the Greek with Greeks, and have a astronomical
Jyotish.
difference. Have a astronomical difference about the calculus, about the mathematics of the Jyotish and the tropical astrology. And this is a very huge difference in conception, you know, because need all the position of the planets, but more than this is the conception of the astrology go to the transcendental world. You go out of the three-dimensional world, you know, you don't see only the physical things. You go to understand the karma. You go to understand the past lives and your predispositions, you know, like your conditions. Yes, it's like this is sanskaras and karmas, you know. You go to study this. And this study for me is a very good way to preach, because not in the classes, because in the YouTube I have classes open for all the people, you know. I don't it's the open class. If anybody go out of the class, no problem. And in these videos in the YouTube, I read the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and many other conceptions of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj, and in the goal of this is everybody have karma. Everybody, good karma and bad karma. But we need to think about Sukriti, because with Sukriti, we go to the higher planes of the transcendental existence. And if you have surrender in the same proportion, you surrender yourself in the proposal, in the goal of the spiritual, you have less conditions of your karma, you know. It's like a more surrender, more karma free, you know, because Krishna taught this in Bhagavad Gita. In the way you surrender to me, I walk in your direction, you know, like we support all the karma and all the faults.
I was just looking up on my phone actually Jyotish. I had to confess I hadn't heard of it before, but Wikipedia has described it as Hindu astrology. Jyotish from the Sanskrit means light or heavenly body. It's the traditional Hindu system of astrology, also known as Hindu astrology, Indian astrology, and more recently Vedic astrology. And it says it is one of the 6 auxiliary disciplines in Hinduism, that's another conversation, that is connected with the study of the Vedas. So you learn something new every day. Jyotish is a type of astrology rooted in the Vedas, the Sanskrit textbooks, which are the gifts of our Gaudiya teachers to the world. Okay, so you
have one thing. Talk. Sorry.
No, ask a question. I was going to kind of link back to your interest in it, but ask a question, please, or say something.
No, yes, I only say the thing is the Vedas, the four Vedas, Ayurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda, Rig Veda, is written for Veda Vyasadeva, and the Mahabharata too. And the Bhagavad Gita is the inside of the Mahabharata. And the father of Veda Vyas is Parashara Muni, the father of Veda Vyas. And the Veda Vyas is the creator of the Jyotish. Is a Parashara Hora Shastra. Parashara Hora Shastra is the first book of Jyotish. Is a astronomical and phenomenological study about the movements of the planets. In the 50th chant, 50th canto, I don't know, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the five canto chant, I don't know in English, is about the Jyotish, talk about the movement of the planets, talk about the time of the sun, how you do and create the clocks, ancient clocks, you know, is a very nice thing. And if you think all the holidays is a calculation of the astrology, because Ekadasi, Dwadasi, Janmastami, Gaura Purnima is full moon, you know, and all these stay in the mathematics of the study of the Vedas and the devotional things. And I'm very satisfied, you know, because I received the bless of this knowledge, you know, for help the people, for help the devotees in your lives, you know. Is my desire is this: talk about the conception, philosophical conception, and help the people in this material suffer, you know. But ask your
So
questions.
my question was going to be around kind of your interest in astrology came, you know, from a young age when you were a teenager. And do you have a particular gift or ability to therefore give people advice on their future? So the kind of common layman's term is really, you know, it's horoscopes, isn't it? Giving people kind of horoscopic astrological readings. Is that something that you do for people?
Yes, these two. This is like one of the things that is possible to do, you know. And if I talk with you about your chart, you know, like your birth natal chart, and in the Jyotish, you create one, you have the day, month, year, hour, minutes, and place. You create your life book with all your karma, you know, and all your predispositions and things will happen in your life. But in the same time, you create many other divisional charts about subtle dimensions, like spiritual planes, and different types of spiritual planes, like tatashtas, like koshas. If you know, we have 5 koshas: Anamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Gyanamaya kosha. Is like a bodies. So, but It's not a three-dimensional bodies. It's not a material bodies. It's an energetical bodies. And if you see in your chart, you see the positions of the planets, and you go to understand how these different dimensions influences in your life. And it's possible I do the horoscope, because the horoscope is a very interesting thing about the people, the person, because don't it's a very generic thing if you do a horoscope to the all world, because all the people, individual, receive a different part of the energy of stay in the world. It's like searching for the signal in the radio. It's possible you change the channel. It's possible because this is your connection with the transcendental and the subtle worlds. You understand this?
So like if I was to give you, not that I'm going to do it now during the broadcast, but if I was going to give you my date of birth, my time of birth, and my location of birth, you'd be able to do some type of chart and tell me what my future might hold. Possible.
Yes, it's possible see your future, many things, but the most important thing is you understand how is the better way for you go to your life. Like a dharmic vision, the dharmic vision of your existence, because we need to take energy for the nature, for stay alive. This is karma. In the Bhagavad Gita, we see karma yoga, and have many types of karma yoga for sustain their life, and have no problem if you do this with consciousness, with sitting, follow the instructions about the life and the varnashram and these things. But if you understand how is the goal of your life, of your existence, like how is the better thing you go to do in your life, think about yourself. This podcast is a very good way to preach to the others and connect the devotees in other world. This is the way of you do your dharma. It's not like you need to take sannyas and you need to go to live in the temple and you need to go to do a pujari. Not.
It's not in that much detail, is it? It's not in that much detail, finite detail. For me personally, in terms of astrology and recognizing astrology's place in society, is that when I was a child growing up, my understanding of astrology was very much on the periphery of society. In Western culture, we don't really prioritize astrology. The national lottery, every Saturday night on the TV, they do the lottery numbers. And there was a lady, and actually I've just looked her up. She's still alive, a lady called Mystic Meg, who used to come on the TV nice. And predict, she didn't predict the lottery numbers, but she used to predict the type of person that's going to win, where they live and what they look like. And you could read your horoscope in kind of what we would call tabloid newspapers, which are newspapers that you don't really take very seriously. And they're kind of like, sorry to any readers listening that read tabloids, and they're kind of they talk about lifestyle and gossip about celebrities, and they attack politicians a lot and stuff. So growing up, my only experience of astrology was Mystic Meg on the lottery and tabloid newspapers, you know, talking trash about people and horoscopes. And then you join the Krishna consciousness movement and you say, actually, astrology isn't on the periphery. It's not just in the tabloids. It's a mainstream part of our philosophy in terms of understanding, you know, the moon and the calendar and how the calendar works. And, you know, a lot of devotees will get married and they will have their charts done before they marry someone, and they'll check if it's the right person based on if they
Yes.
match up. And that was certainly a learning curve for me, was how central astrology is to the Bhakti yoga, Krishna conscious culture or lifestyle. That's my
Nice.
rambling. That's a bit of a rambling there. So I find it just fascinating to meet people like you, and this, you know, because I still, I mean, I've been in the Hare Krishna movement for almost 20 years, and if I'm honest, I still don't really prioritize astrology. I don't, you know, I just get on with my seva. I chant my rounds every day. I try and put God first in everything that I do. I be nice to people. I preach. I distribute books, you know, and in terms of what's a good day to do it based on the astrological charts, I don't know. I just go and do it, you know.
Yes.
But it's a big part of. I can see it's a massive part of what you do, you know. And you know, I've seen your YouTube channel. It's very impressive.
Yes, Prabhu, I need to talk a very, very, very interesting thing. It's like astrology in my life is a very crucial thing.
Mm,
Like give me many ways to do my best. I think this because for many times I think in how I talk to the people, the goal of the life. And the people don't need to know about this, don't think about this. But the people think, like you said, like you talk, the people searching in the papers about horoscope, you know? And I think if I use this to talk about Krishna consciousness, and I discovered, because this I don't know about, but I discovered, like you discovered now, this is a very important thing in the life of a Indian culture, you know? And I think for hundreds, like many hundreds of years, all the Indian civilization like configured for the Jyotish. Because it's like you said now, if you read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first chant, talk about the birth of Parikshit Maharaj.
yeah.
In time of Maharaj Parikshit born, many astrologers come and talk about her future, you know. And Prabhupada have a commentary about these verses, very, very interesting commentary about the difference of many astrologers, Indian astrologers, and have the Vipras. The Vipras is a type of astrologers, Indian astrology Jyotishas, but talking only about the material life, the Vipras. But Prabhupada said the Vaishnavas is more higher than them, because the Vaishnavas reveal the soul, reveals the identity of the soul. And this is a very impact in my mind, you know. Yes, I need to talk about Jyotish, not for the material life, only for the material life. It's for the soul wake up and do the mission of the life. And the thing is, in India, in the history of the culture, is the baby born and the astrologer go and write the things. Another time, the girl born and the astrologer go to the connections of all the people and do the arrangements of the marriage, of the all the things. If you think in India, you go to buy a car, have a day to do this. If you go to inside of your new house, have a day to you do this. If you go to a travel one place, have a best day to you travel. Have many things, but it's like the thing I said before. If you surrender yourself through the process of the consciousness, forgot your natal chart and all the things, because Krishna go to arrange all the things for your elevation, for your service. But I think I don't surrender myself, and I need to study this and do this like a saver, because I talk with the people about Krishna, about Gurudev, and I talk to the people because I think the name is Upaya. Upaya is a medicine. Upaya is a remedy, astrologic remedy, and having many books, Jyotish books about upayas, like you do this and this bad karma go out of your life. You do this bad karma is go out of your life. And like you need to do austerity for Saturn. You need to do austerity for Mars. But this is a karma kanda. Is one type of karma yoga, only results in good karma. And I think it's better you create Sukriti. And for you create Sukriti is only sadhana and the connection with a guru, with a master, with have a good connection with the devotees and do your seva and things like this. For me, astrology is this,
It's fascinating to hear you talk. Actually, I could hear you kind of talk all day. My brain, when you were talking about 3-4 minutes, and my brain went off at a tangent. And you were using Prahlad Maharaj as an example, and his birth and the kind of astrological stuff around it. And then I was thinking actually about Jesus's birth, according to the story in the Bible, and how it's generally taught in the Bible that there were 3 wise men that came led by a star, and it was all based on the kind of astrological understandings of when Jesus would be born, or the Messiah, the second come. Sorry, not the second coming. The Messiah would come, and it's a shame. And then my brain, I kind of thought all of this in a few seconds. It's a shame how in kind of Western Christian culture that astrology gets such criticism, because actually the birth of Jesus in the Bible is kind of foretold astrologically, and wise people come to see Jesus based on astrological understanding. It's fascinating. I'm conscious we've been talking for quite a long time now in terms of our podcast. You and I can chat after we've stopped broadcasting. But you and I have been chatting for almost an hour and a half on the podcast, which is fantastic. And as soon as I mentioned astrology, your face lit up and you became really excited. We could talk about astrology all day. I mean, I've learned some really new things today, like the term Jyotish. So I don't really know Sanskrit. I know a little bit of Sanskrit, but I'm aware of the term Jyoti, I know what that means. So this is another word, Jyotish, you know, and it's described as, according to Wikipedia, Hindu astrology. I studied Hinduism academically at university, and I didn't come across this term, so I'm quite pleased to learn about this term today, in terms of its connection with the Vedas. I'm just trying to think of, we've kind of gone through a lot of the questions that we wanted to talk about, but I don't want to kind of stop this conversation because it's going really, really well. I mean, how then are so you're using astrology to preach and share Krishna consciousness. How
Yes.
receptive are the public? You know, how is it going? Are the public interested in what you're talking about?
Nice, nice, very nice, very nice. This is so good, man. It's like if you think I'm very crazy, you know, and I yes, because I live in, like you said, like you know, I live in the mountains, I live in the forest, and I live far away from the people, you know. I live like a monk, like a yogi, you know, in the forest. But I have people close to me, and I have many friends in São Paulo. And for like 2 years, I do the study of the Bhagavad Gita in the house of one friend. He invited other friends of him, and like in the first group is like 28 or 30 people, and we study all the Bhagavad Gita every week, but not 2 times in the month, 3 times in the month. And we read all the Bhagavad Gita. And after this, I started a group of students of astrology. And before the COVID, you know, because the COVID stops all the things, but before the COVID, I do in São Paulo, in the other cities, groups of introduction of Jyotish. And like I think like 400 or more people do this.
Wow.
You know, and it's so nice, you know, because all these people hear about Krishna, hear about Gurudev, hear about the consciousness, and receive, not all, but almost all, receive a Bhagavad Gita of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, you know, and this is so nice. This is a very, very interesting thing, because I don't talk about myself. I don't do advertising about my work, you know. It's only people talk to people. Only people talk with other people and talk about my style of work. And the people come to me, talk about your life and your astrology things, knowing I will talk about spirituality, you know. This is the reference. This is the point. The people come to me because I talk about the consciousness, and talk about the consciousness for the, I don't know, have a word for this, but in the conception of God, we need to know, have one aspect of God for anyone. God shows yourself in the one aspect for anyone. And we need to understand this. We need to respect the form of the others connected with God. This is the best thing, you know. And if we have this sensibility to understand, it's possible you talk. If you go to learn about Shiva, you go to be a greater devotee, you know. If you think, oh, if you know about Buddha, you go to be a good Buddhist. if you go to do about the saints of the Christian, because it's very hard to the people know about Krishna and understand who Krishna is. This is the the more higher thing, you know. If possible, talk about this, I will talk about this. But if the people only need to do is hear about love, hear about peace, hear about the soul, and you go step by step, give to the people in the way of the consciousness. I think this, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but I try, you know, I try to do my best.
Well, I think it's very encouraging what you're doing, and it's very inspiring. And if I ever make it to Brazil, I'll definitely come and see you, and we can talk about astrology all day.
Nice.
Did you say that you had a lot of interest during the pandemic, during COVID, in your classes, your online classes?
Yes, in this time, in the time of COVID, I do online things. And
Mm,
because this now I have the Instagram and I have the YouTube,
yeah,
and now I'm create new things.
I've
Oh, nice,
subscribed
thank
to
you.
your YouTube channel, so I will now get
Nice.
notifications, and I can watch them. They're very long, quite long, 1 hour, 50 minutes.
Yes. I
Wow.
will I will do the subtitles in English. I learn how do this. I will try.
It's very professional. Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking, certainly during the COVID pandemic, there was I think globally there was a huge increase in interest in astrology, and other things like horoscopes. And I find myself, I was at home for 3 months like everybody else, and I find myself looking online at, what's the psychic predictions and astrological predictions about the pandemic? How long will it last? And when will COVID go away? And you find lots of people saying very interesting things, actually. But yeah, it was fascinating time. Um, okay, Prabhuji, we've been talking on the podcast for an hour and a half already. Um, and so I think probably we're going to say goodbye to the audience at home. You and I can have a continue chatting after. But I really, really appreciate you coming on as the guest this week.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I appreciate you giving up your time. Yeah, and I have to say, even though you're in the Brazilian rainforest, the connection has been quite amazing. Uh, I mean,
Stop raining.
it's very clear. Your the camera work is very clear, and I think there's been a bit of flickering once or twice, but your connection's better than some people in Britain. I can assure you. So yeah, really, really appreciate your time. So I'll say goodbye to everyone at home, and then we can carry on chatting after. So a big thank you to Gaura Nataraj Prabhu from the Brazilian rainforest for being our guest this week on the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast, which, as you know, has guests from outside of Britain too. I really appreciate him giving up his time to take part in this. And yeah, I'm really happy that he's been happy to take part. So thank you everyone for tuning into this week's edition. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, please do share the link. Please do put a positive comment, and please do like, love, or care for it. Those are some of the emotions or the emojis that you can express on Facebook. We have a long line of guests coming up over the next few weeks here on the podcast. But if you do want to be a guest on the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast, if you have a story to tell, we would love to hear it. If you do want to be a guest, get in touch here on Facebook or YouTube, and we will set up a date for you to take part. Until next week, thank you, and Hare Krishna.